Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. I hope you're doing awesomely well today. I know I am. I had to peel out of a bunch of layers once I got home from work because I was working outside. It was like 36 degrees at the top end today, I believe. I know, that's not that terribly cold, all of you northern people are saying, but I have thin blood. I am from the south, so that's about as cold as it gets, and I'm comfortable working. Anywho, I hope all you guys are comfy, ready for this game to start. This is going to be a quick one. This one's about 15 minutes from what I understand from the guy that sent it in to me, but it should be really, really good. We've got Silver Kronos in the red corner. He is taking UEF and going land first, and then we've got Nevkill. He is Neckville, not Nevkill. I apparently have Lysdexia. He is going Aeon air first in the southern corner. So let's just see what these guys are going to get up to. It looks like it's going to be a strong air game for Neckville. He is got a lot of power generators down, and he's going second air as well. So somehow he is planning on getting by without any tanks, without any kind of ground unit whatsoever other than engineers. And he better have a lot of engineers to do a whole lot of reclaiming to make this kind of build work. I'm interested to see how that works out. The ladder rankings are 758 versus 1500, but let that be no indicator because, as you may well know, ladder and global rankings are separate. So if you have someone who basically never plays ladder, then their rank may be substantially lower than what their global rank is. Okay, we've got a pretty standard build going on here. 3 engineers out of the factory, a few power generators, and then an air factory. And you may say, that's not very many power generators. How the hell is he going to make that work? It is with Reclaim, my friends. Reclaim is the answer to all things in life. We've got a bunch of tree clumps down here that are worth a significant amount of power. You can see that Neckville is going for air as well and going for that reclaim. So this is going to boost your power levels by quite a bit. I know a lot of you are familiar with the numbers, but each clump of trees is worth 10 mass and 100 power. Each individual tree is worth 1 mass and 10 power. So you can get a pretty large amount of power going on with that. And we've also got mass across the front side. This is pretty much all of the reclaim that there is on this map. This tiny little, trying to get where you can see it. There we go. It's hard to see against the texture. But you've got that little clump of rocks there. Not very much at all. It does not even show up on the reclaim indicator. You can see those are the only things that show up. 138 and 113 for these 3 rocks on each side. It's pretty much the sum total of the reclaim. So out of this factory now, we've got a bomber building. We had a scout zipping out across the map. That's going to gather some intel, maybe pick up a few expansioneers to see what's going on over there that he can kill. We got the other air factory going down, and we do have a tank out. Stryker is going to be moving southward. That's going to cause a few little issues for this lonely engineer out here because he is not going to have anything to protect him unless that bomber detours and kills the tank, which I highly doubt is going to happen. These engineers, you see, dragging around the attack move order does really, really well because it preserves that huge radius of reclaim that is available from that attack move from the factory. So you just keep dragging that around. Your engineers move to that spot and continue to reclaim. It is a massive boost to your income. Bomber out for red as well. He is going for third land, which means he's going to be pushing out a few more tanks. He's going to have a strong position to claim a lot of the territory on this map because there's really not any units to answer from Neckville. But this bomber is going to be able to take out these 2 engineers on this side. Will they get the mass extractor done? They will, but they will die immediately after, falling short of getting the Hydra. But it looks like we're in danger of the same thing happening to Neckville. He does have his engineers spread out, though, so it will not be total devastation in one pass. 1 down. ACU actually going out to meet the threat head on. That Stryker is really close to making it all the way back into the base, but alas, it is not meant to be. 3 air factories down for Neckville. He is just perfectly balanced on his economy. That is incredible, but he has very, very little build power and no land units, as we were saying before. He is maintaining some semblance of air control. He has the same amount of interceptors and an extra bomber in the air over Silver Kronos. But moving forward in the match, this is going to be harder and harder for him to maintain because he is not claiming any extra mass extractors. There is yet another air factory going down, 3 P-gens for adjacency, and a radar to hopefully let him know what on earth is going on. The bomber is in the back of his base still. That could turn out to be dangerous in just a minute here when it finally gets its targeting figured out. Got a little hover bomb going on there. And damaging all those P-gens, probably planning on another pass to get a couple more drops right there and eliminate all of those. 3 interceptors versus 4, but the Reds had a bit of an advantage on that first pass. Passing it up for Blue, though, they went after the bomber and lost that advantage. So let's see, I think that red bomber got shot down and it didn't affect anything. I don't see any wrecks or anything damaged. So he should... Blue, I think, eliminated the threat before anything bad happened. Alright, last interceptor for Red is going down. There's no combat units left, but there is a transport. I have to see what happens with that. Maybe dropping some engineers on this plateau. We'll just have to see. Tanks moving into the southern expansion, meeting no resistance, as expected with a build like this. And holy crap, that is a 5.5 minute T2 air factory. What on earth is going through Neckville's mind? Because he has essentially no income. He is struggling to expand. He's dropping engineers out there. But if there's literally any threat, he's not going to be able to protect those things. And he is now going for T2 gunships. T1 stationary anti-air out there. That is going to give him some nice protection from any T1 bombers that might come into the area. Getting another air factory down. He's decided he's had enough of this. He's going to build 2 air factories of his own to contest air control. And I really think that's about the only option he has at this point, because he does not have any flak. There's a T2 land factory, though. He will be building flak. There it is right there. Skyboxer out to play. And that is not something you want under your T1 and T2 air, because it's going to be able to bat them down with very, very little effort. Interceptors moving in, and there's still enough air from Blue to protect those, but not for long if he keeps winging over towards that flak. Skyboxer's going to have to take the long way around down to that plateau, though. All the build power has been eliminated there, so no reclaiming of that mass extractor. Excuse me. We're just going to have to see if Red can reclaim that. Tanks are going to go out and fight the gunship head on, though. That should work out very, very well for him. And another gunship out for Neckville on the top end. So he is going to be able to deny this reasonably well, at least in the short term. Once a couple of flak units get out of that factory and he's able to get, mobile flak in each of the key positions, it's going to be much, much harder to maintain this with air only. But for now, Blue is actually doing reasonably well. He is dropping engineers clear over here. He's going to see what he can do in that expansion. And the interceptors are a little out of place. That one red interceptor is just going to harass that gunship. It's not going to kill it, though. He is going to come back south. Man, this is... I don't think I've ever seen a gameplay out this way on Loki. We're seeing 100% air versus a mix. And so far, it seems to be working. It's going to be harder, though, as this keeps moving. There's the second flak. That's going to be key. And what have we got building now? Pillars. Well, the pillar's not going to see much use. I can say that, because there's not really anything for it to kill. Engineers dropping in. That was bad. No intel on this spot. Those engineers are pretty much going to instantaneously die without any chance to do anything. 2 firing cycles from the tanks and they go down. 3 firing cycles, my bad. That transport is going to survive, though. Maybe he'll be able to pull out and do something useful. This engineer over here is trying to get a T1 point defense down. Check in on Neckville's eco. He is actually sitting on 27 at the moment, which is quite impressive versus his opponent only having 9. So at this particular moment, if we're looking at incomes and map control, holy crap, Silver Kronos is on the downhill side of this. And look at the amount of interceptors that Neckville has at his disposal. This is going to be nightmarish to recover from for Silver Kronos. And we do have point defense going down on that key position over there as well. Unfortunately, that one did not get done, so that expansion is going to be left alone. But the ACU is maybe headed that way. Nope, don't think so. Let me see what I can see. Where's your move order at? Shift is not telling me. Ah, it's build orders. Okay, ACU is heading up there. Good dealio, good dealio. Scouts moving towards the south. That's going to give a little intel on what he probably already knew was there. 3 gunships, though. They are going to hit those engineers. 2 perky little engineers down there. Was that a Sparky? I did not even see, and I feel terrible about it because I really should have noticed. But versus 1 engineer, it may have been 2 T1s, and that would have done the trick. Just reclaim those engineers before it can get the point fence built, and you are golden. 3 T2 gunships may not sound like a lot, but when you're versus someone who has only 13 mass income, that is quite enough to do some devastating harassment to the base. And there is not currently, there is now a flak in the base. Okay, once again, the interceptors falling a bit behind those gunships, so red should take advantage of this prime opportunity to wipe out some of that air. But there he goes. Blue is kind of just going to park there and let all of his gunships die. Not cool, Neckville. Really need to... This is actually something that I fail at on a semi-regular basis, is air placement. Because you can have all of the right air units, and you can have the proper idea for taking something out, but if you misplace your ASF or your interceptors by just a couple of 100 meters, it can be absolutely devastating to your combat units because they're just so vulnerable versus equal tier interceptors. T2 gunships and T1 bombers go down very, very fast versus T1 interceptors and swift winds, and then strat bombers get absolutely pulverized by ASF. So we've got flak and flak and more flak. Yes, right there, which is getting dangerously close to the ACU. A handful of T2 units versus an ACU with no overcharge is very, very dangerous. You can see right here with the very careful distribution of power for Neckville. He's having issues with getting enough power to have an overcharge, not to mention not having a storage. So he is actually running, and I don't blame him because that's a fair amount of firepower with 2 pillars there. Definitely more than you'd want to take on with your ACU. Just plinking away at it, 100 damage at a time. Take quite a while to kill those off. This is a shame. There's 2 T1 mechs there and only anti-air, so he can't kill it and get it back. Probably needs to dispatch a couple of engineers from that spot. So many T1 bombers. Flak is very, very good at taking out bombers, but when there are that many and they're spread out enough that the flak can't hit all of them at once, ugh. But the interceptors, it looks like red is actually going to gain air control. All of the build power, all of the mass that went into building these combat units, this is not good. Silver Chronos caught way away from the water. He does have a load of interceptors, though. He will be able to kill these off. The question is, can he kill them fast enough? 57 and falling. 5K. I think he does have enough. This is going to be so close for Neckville. And what's a shame about this, 33. We're down to bombers and 1 gunship. Gunship down. Bombers trying to finish it off, but this is simply not enough. No, 2,500 health. That was a brutal hit. But Silver Chronos was able to win air control at the last possible second and get those units on the ground. And that's going to save his ACU alive. And that was pretty much the entire combat presence of Neckville. So that means that he is now got to come up with plan B, which I'm not sure what he's going to fall back on, because there's now flak with just about every single battle grouping scattered across the map, and he has lost what little map control that he had. There are a few more mechs that could be cleaned up by Silver Chronos, but Silver Chronos is still just hammering away. He has got to keep air control. He has to keep air control, and he is doing a dang good job of it. 4 air factories now pumping out interceptors as this match is turned on its head. Now it's up to Neckville He's building a T2 transport. What on earth are you thinking? Are you doing a comm drop? Because that is not going to work out for you. It simply isn't. There is too much flak and too many interceptors in too many places. The 100% air strategy, it seems to me, can potentially work in the short term on a medium-ish sized map. It's actually really neat to see. I've never watched a replay personally. I've heard of games like this happening, but I've never seen a replay of a 100% air game. But now I can say that I have, and it is apparently viable. Just not past about 12 or 15 minutes. Because once you get all this flak in the area, oh no. No. He's going for the kill directly. That commander has 1,300 health due to all of the various air attacks and everything else coming in. So if that ACU gets in, we got 2,500 for the death nuke. Oh, that is so cheap. The cheese! The stinky, stinky cheese! No! 1,300 on the transport. Interceptors coming in on a perfect path. Transport gonna stop, and there it goes. Goodness. No. And that's a mutual KO. Well, definitely a different game. Not something that you see every day or every week even. In a year of doing this, that's the first time anybody has sent me a 100% air replay. So, kudos. Really neat game. Really cool game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you've seen something that you can try to exploit in your one versus one adventures. But make sure you got a good game plan set up, because that is definitely one heck of a strategy to backfire. I can say that for sure. Alrighty guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.